You sure you don't want me to put pants on?
I only need you for the waist up.
I still don't get it.
You said it was fine.
It is fine. It's just
What?
the more I think about it, I think it is a little weird that you want to paint me after seeing a painting of a slave.
He was Velasquez's assistant, honey.
His slave.
Until Velasquez freed him.
Okay.
I mean, how many times have we stopped in front of that painting? I only need you for the waist up.
I still don't.
You said it was fine.
It is good painting.
What?
Going on?
What's happening?
It's a good painting. No idea what it has to do with what happened last night. I mean, the guy was a dick.
He wasn't just a dick. He was a dick to you, and I could tell why.
Honey, it's not the first time.
A man, a waiter, looking at you.
Looking at us.
Not seeing you. Not seeing who you really are. Not until you started to deal with him. And the deftness with which you did that. You made him see that gap between what he was assuming about you and what you really are.
The guy's racist. So what?
Sure. But I started to think about the Velasquez painting and how people must have reacted when they first saw it. They think they're looking at a picture of a Moor, an assistant.
A slave.
Fine, a slave. But whose portrait, it turns out, has more nuance and complexity than his renditions of kings and queens. And God knows how many of those he painted.
You know what I think? I think you should call your black Spanish boyfriend and get him here to sit for you. He's still in New York, isn't he?
Honey, I have no idea.
You don't have to rub it in, babe. I know all men are not created equal.
Could you do the thing?
Way to make a guy feel wanted. If anything, I guess I should be grateful to Jose, right? Broke your dad in. I mean, at least I spoke English.
Dad's still traumatized. He brought up that Thanksgiving on the phone the other day. Anyway, I don't know what you're so worried about. It's not like anybody's gonna see this.
Baby, Jerry Saltz looked at your last show.
He liked it. He didn't love it. It didn't sell.
Selling's not everything.
Selling's not everything? You really believe that?
It's a client.
Fine. Just stay where you are.
What? Paolo, I'm not your therapist. You don't pay me to listen to you. Pay me to listen to me. Yeah, but you're not listening. You're going to kill this deal. Honey, the point is that they buy it. They own it. They do what they want. That's how it works. Paolo, I'm getting another call. It's about the contract. I gotta go. You're enjoying your Cheerios? Well, what the fork else was keeping you from calling me back? I don't care that it's Saturday morning. You paid 6 figures to return my calls. Paragraph 4, subsection 3, last sentence. Why are these 3 words still in there? You missed that? No. What actually happened is I told you to fix it, and you did it. Then behave like it. working career paralegal.
Wow.
I don't catch his little fork up. It costs the client 850 grand.
It's actually kind of hot.
You're so good. What's his name again?
Juan de Peria?
It's a little forked up. Give me that at least.
I happen to know you like it a little fucked up.
I should call Mort.
You want more coffee?
Hey, Mort. Good, good. So listen, I talked to Paolo again. Seller's remorse. It's a moot point. His board's gonna vote against him. What do you want me to do? Okay. I'll feed him the line on litigation. He doesn't have the stomach for that. By the time I'm through with him, he'll go into PTSD every time he sees my name on his caller ID. She's right here. Mort says hi.
Tell him hi.
She says hi. We have plans for Labor Day, Mort. Don't worry about it. Enjoy the weekend. All right, sounds good. See you then.
Hamptons?
Honey, Jory and Isaac, Bucks County. It takes forever to make that happen.
I know. It's got me a little freaked out. Isaac's a big deal.
And he's gonna love your work.
How is Mort?
Obsessed with the idea that meditation is going to bring down his cholesterol.
Haven't seen him in ages.
I barely see him. He hardly comes in. A couple hours a day at most when he does show up.
He used to be the boss.
I mean, basically, I'm doing his job. I don't mind.
He loves you.
He depends on me.
Okay. He spent, I don't know, how much on that birthday present for you?
Couple grand at least.
Excuse me?
Honey, I really am pretty much doing his job.
So he gets you a book or a bottle of scotch or takes you to dinner. Why did he get you a statue of Siva? He doesn't think you're Hindu, does he?
He may have mentioned something once. You realize I'm going to end up with my name on that firm.
Leibovitz, Bernstein, Harris, and Kapoor.
My mother will roll over in her grave.
Your mother would be proud.
It's not the family name, so she might not care. But seeing it alongside all those Jewish ones.
That'll be Abe.
Abe?
Your nephew.
Oh, right. Wait.
Yes? Send him up.
You're not gonna let this thing go, are you?
I don't like what's happening. Somebody's got to do something about it.
I went to see that guy in prison. What more do you want? Do you two want?
Should I come back?
No.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Come in, Hussein.
Uncle,
What?
could you just call me?
I've known you your whole life as Hussein. I'm not gonna start calling you Abe now.
Hi, Abe.
Hi, Aunt Emily. See? How hard can it be?
Abe Jensen? Really?
You know, you know how much easier things are for me since I changed my name. It's in the Quran. It says you can hide your religion if you have to.
I'm not talking about the Quran. I'm talking about you being called Abe Jensen. Just lay off it with me and your folks, at least.
It's gotta be one thing or the other. I can't be all mixed up.
Amir, you changed your name too.
You got lucky. You didn't have to change your first name. Could be Christian, Jewish. Plus, you were born here. It's different.
You want something, sweetie? Coffee, juice?
Nah, I'm
Nah.
good.
I'm sorry.
I can't find a song sweet coffee juice.
Alexa,
Well-
stop. I'm so sorry.
So what's up?
I'll let you gentlemen talk.
No need. Everybody knows you're in on this. So you've been calling her too?
You weren't calling me back.
Why are we still talking about this? I'm a corporate lawyer in mergers and acquisitions.
Who started in the public defenders?
That was years ago. Your man should have been more careful.
Imam Farid didn't do anything. Every church in the country collects money. It's how they keep their doors open. We're entitled to. He's running the mosque.
He's got the right. Just because they're collecting money doesn't mean it's for the Hamas.
What does any of this have to do with me?
Doesn't matter to you that an innocent man is in prison?
I don't know Patriot Act law. The guy's already got a legal team. Those guys, Ken and Alex, are amazing.
They are not Muslim.
There we go.
What?
What I thought. I'm not going to be a part of a legal team just because your imam is a bigot.
He's not a bigot. He'd just be more comfortable if there was a Muslim on the case too.
More comfortable if he wasn't being represented by a couple of Jews?
No, he liked you. He said you were a good man.
Well, he might not feel the same if he knew how I really felt about his religion.
That's just a phase.
Excuse me?
That's what Mom says Grandma used to say about you, that you were working something out, that you were such a good Muslim when you were a kid, and that you had to go the other way for a while.
The other way? Sit down, Hussein. I want to tell you something.
So just tell me.
No, I want you to sit down. When was the first time you had a crush?
I thought you wanted to tell me something.
I'm getting to it. Your first crush?
5th grade, a girl named Naslima.
I was in 6th. Her name was Ravika.
I thought your crush was Susan.
That was the first girl I ever kissed. Rivka was the first girl I ever got up in the morning thinking about. One time she went away on vacation in the middle of the school year. She was gone a week. I was a mess. Didn't even want to go to school if I couldn't see her. She was a looker. Dark hair, dark eyes, dimples, perfect white skin.
Why didn't you ever tell me about her?
I didn't want you to hate my mother. I just wait. So Rivka and I'd gotten to the point where we were trading notes. And one day my mother found one of the notes. Of course it was signed Rivka. Rivka, my mom says. That's a Jewish name. I wasn't clear on what exactly a Jew was at the time, other than they'd stolen land from the Palestinians, and something about how God hated them more than other people. I couldn't imagine God could have hated this little girl, so I told my mom, no, she's not Jewish. But she knew the name was Jewish. If I ever hear that name in this house again, Amir, she said, I'll break your bones. You will end up with a Jew over my dead body. Then she spat in my face.
My God.
That's so you don't ever forget, she says. Next day, Rivka comes up to me in the hallway with a note. Hi, Amir, she says. eyes sparkling. I look at her and say, "You've got the name of a Jew." She smiles. "Yes, I'm Jewish," she says. Then I spit in her face.
That's horrible.
Man, that's effed up.
So when my older sister goes on to you about this way and the other way, now you'll have a better idea of the phase I'm really going through. It's called intelligence.
I'm surprised.
By what?
I don't know. Your mother was very open with me.
Let's just say I made it abundantly clear not to mess with you.
I thought she liked me.
Seemed like it to me.
She kissed me on her deathbed.
You won her over. You were open-hearted, gracious.
You make it sound like there was some whole battle going on.
Well,
About what?
white women have no self-respect. How can someone respect themselves when they think they have to take off their clothes to make people like them? They're whores.
What are you saying?
What Muslims around the world say about white women.
Not everyone says that.
Have you heard it or not?
Yeah.
And more than once?
Yes.
And from your mother? I rest my case. And
Imam Farid is not like that. If you got to know him better, you'd realize he's actually your kind of guy. Once a month, we're doing a Friday prayer that's mixed.
And he let me sit in his mosque and sketch every day for weeks.
he was probably hoping you'd convert. Who knows? He probably will.
Don't be dismissive.
I don't understand what you see in it.
And what?
In Islam.
When we were in the mosque in Cordoba, remember that? The pillars and arches?
Those are great.
Remember what you said?
I'm sure you're going to remind me.
That it actually made you feel like praying?
That's kind of the point of a mosque, honey.
And that Matisse show you loved so much. He got all that from Mogul Miniatures. Carpets, Moroccan tiles.
Fine. I got it.
There's so much beauty and wisdom in the Islamic tradition, Amir.
But the thing is, it's not just beauty and wisdom.
Uncle, don't think of him as a Muslim if you don't want to. Just think of him as a wise man, who so many depend on.
I hear you, Hughes. I really do.
So come to the hearing next Thursday.
Next Thursday is a busy day at work.
An old man who didn't do anything wrong is in prison.
And there's nothing I can do about it.
Honey,
I should probably head out.
I didn't mean to snap at you.
Just think about it.
Okay, fine.
you okay, sweetie?
Yeah, fine. I should really go. Bye.
Bye.
It will never cease to amaze me. My parents moved to this country with my sister, never make her a citizen. When she's old enough, they send her back, marry her off in Pakistan. She has kids with the guy, and lo and behold, he wants to come here. And what do? Spend all their spare time at the Islamic Center.
His heart's in the right place, Amir.
Okay, I know.
Is yours?
What is that supposed to mean?
I mean, why would you have worked in the public defenders if you didn't care about justice?
Public defenders have the hottest girlfriends.
I'd like to think there was some part of you that believed in what you were doing. I mean, I don't know.
No, of course.
When it comes to the imam, it's like you don't care. Like you don't think he's human.
You and Hussein wanted to see him, so I went. I went to talk to him in prison, and the man spent an hour trying to get me to pray again. He's been in prison 4 months, and all he can do.
Told me. So what? So a man who has nothing left but his dignity and his faith is still trying to be useful in the only way he knows how? I mean, if he feels he needs one of his own people around him.
Not one of his people.
You are. And in a way, that's unique, and that can be helpful to him. Why can't you see that?
Can we stop talking about this?
We never talk about this. Not really. Amir, I love you. The defendant, surrounded by a gauntlet of attorneys, struck a defiant tone. He spoke eloquently of the injustices he'd experienced and what he called an unconscionable lack of due process. Amir Kapoor of Leibovitz, Bernstein, Harris supported the imam, stating, "As far as anybody knows, there isn't a case, and if the Justice Department has one, it's time they started making it." I don't think you look like counsel for the defense.
That's because you know I'm not.
It's because it doesn't say you are.
The defendant, surrounded by a gauntlet of attorneys, struck a defiant tone. And then she quotes an attorney, me, implying that I'm one of the gauntlet of attorneys. She doesn't quote another attorney.
But she just says you're supporting him.
I
You're
don't
just supporting him.
I don't see a just. There's no just supporting him.
It's implied.
I think it reads very clearly that I was supporting his defiant tone. That I was supporting him being defiant.
Isn't he justified?
That's not my point, Em.
Maybe it should be.
The man's basically an alleged terrorist. Amir Kapoor supported the imam.
Even if it does make you look like that.
So it does?
I don't think it does, but even if it does, why is that a bad thing? What you did is right. You're standing up for due process.
It's just,
What?
don't you think people are going to think, I guess they'll look at the name if they know anything at all.
Amir.
They'll know the name isn't Muslim.
Amir, what's going on? If this bothers you so much, call the Times. Have them retract.
But the thing is, I did say this.
I remember.
But after clearly saying I was not counsel for the defendant, why did they have to mention the firm?
Baby, you did the right thing. I am so proud of you. And so was Abe. And you'll see, Mort's going to be so proud of you, too.
Mort's not the one I'm worried about.
This is going to be good for you at work.
Good for me.
Look at Goldman.
Goldman?
Socks. Jamie? Well, he took all that philanthropy so seriously.
What does your douchebag banker ex-boyfriend have to do with this?
Isn't that how it works? Isn't that how all you guys cover up the fact that all anybody cares about you in your world is making money?
I have to get going. Supported the imam.
Honey, look at me. Stop it. That's Isaac.
Right.
Well, I mean, he's here.
Okay.
What?
Nothing.
Are you annoyed with me?
I need to go.
You are. Honey, this is a big deal for me. I have a studio visit with a curator from the Whitney.
And who do you think made it happen?
Really? Now? Can we talk about this tonight?
There's nothing to talk about.
Hi. Yes, send them up. I mean, I'm sure no one will see it. It's buried in the back.
Don't.
Don't what?
I know your mind is elsewhere.
I think you're overthinking this.
Let me just get this straight. Some lawyer is a dick to me in a restaurant, and you want to make a painting. But if it's something that actually might affect my livelihood, you don't even want to believe there could be a problem.
What does one thing have to do with the other?
I left my phone in the bedroom.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Great.
Find it okay?
Oh, quick ride up Madison couldn't be easier.
Amir's on his way out.
Isaac,
Hello, sir.
good to see you. Thanks again for a wonderful weekend in the country.
Oh, it was our pleasure.
I gotta run. I'm late for work.
You'll probably still get there before my wife.
Always do. See you later.
Bye, honey. It's gonna be fine. You'll see.
Is this a bad time?
No.
You sure?
Yeah.
I mean, okay.
Can I get you some coffee and tea?
Sure, coffee'd be great.
Milk? Sugar?
No, black is fine. Constable's great, isn't he?
Love them.
Oh, it's one of the things I love about going to Frieze every year. My little pilgrimage to see the constables at the Tate. You ever been?
Tate, yes. Freeze, no. Though my dealer suggested I go this year.
Thanks. So I've spent a lot of time thinking about our discussion since last weekend.
About me being a white woman with no right to be using Islamic forms? No, I think you're wrong about that.
Well, I think I might be wrong too.
What happened?
Well, I found a few images of your work online.
You read Jerry's review.
Yes, I did. I don't always agree with Jerry, but he did have some compelling things to say. Oh, this is the one you wanted me to see.
Well, this is the one in the apartment. There are more at the studio.
Mm-hmm. I have to admit, it has presence. The surface tending toward the convex. It's a bending of the picture plane, isn't it?
Exactly.
Which is why Jerry was talking about late Bernard.
The mosaics in Andalusia are bending the picture plane 400 years before Bonnard. That's what I mean. That's what I was saying. The Muslims gave us Aristotle. Without them, we probably wouldn't even have visual perspective.
That's quite a statement.
And I can back it up. What?
I don't know. It's the earnestness, the lack of irony. It's unusual.
Irony's overrated,
Can't say that I disagree with that.
but
You know what you're going to be accused of? Orientalism. I mean, hell, you even got the brown husband.
fuck you, I think.
Good. That's what they're going to say.
Yeah, well, we've all gotten way too wrapped up in the optics, the way we talk about things. We've forgotten to look at things for what they really are. When you're at Freeze this fall, after the constables, you need to go to the Victoria and Albert, the Islamic Galleries, room 22. Remember that. It will change the way you see art.
Them's fighting words.
The Islamic tiling tradition, Isaac, is a doorway to the most extraordinary freedom, and which only comes through a kind of profound submission. In my case, of course, it's not submission to Islam, but to the formal language, the pattern, the repetition, and the quiet that this work requires of me. It's extraordinary.
You sound like a mid-century American minimalist trying to obliterate the ego.
The Islamic tradition's been doing it for 1,000 years. Pardon me for thinking they may have a better handle on it. It's time we woke up. Time we stop paying lip service to Islam and Islamic art. We draw on the Greeks, the Romans, but Islam is part of who we are too. God forbid anybody remind us of it.
Huh.
What?
No, this is good.
Yeah. Now Rick can't get back into the group. Oh no. I see. Let me call Rick.
I can like barely. Yeah, I can barely hear you. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're going
You
out.
can hear me?
I can hear you now. It's kind of going
Yeah.
in and out.
Oh wow. Is it okay? So if I
Yeah, come closer. Come closer.
oh,
You just have to be up on your mic.
You see how close I am now? I will read all of them again. Scene 3 months later. Lights come up on the terrace. Amir, a drink in hand. He drinks again, stares down into the bottom of his glass, burning. Then all at once, he smashes the glass on the terrace. Floor. Shards fly. The burst of violence doesn't seem to have soothed him. He comes into the apartment, going to the bar for a glass and another drink. Finally, we hear keys. The door is open, and Emily enters grocery bags.
Hey, honey.
Hey, where were you?
At Gourmet Garage, getting a few things for tonight.
Good night.
Isaac and Jory. You didn't forget, did you?
That's why it smells so good in here.
I made pork tenderloin, and guess what? They had litter and that liver mousse you love so much.
Great.
Can't be bad news, right? I'm coming to your house to eat your food and tell you you're not in the show. Nobody does that, right?
So you're in.
God, I hope.
Emily approaching him, sexual.
Honey,
What?
we've talked about this. It doesn't help.
I miss you, Amir.
I know.
So I'm assuming you forgot the wine.
I did. I'm sorry.
Amir,
Ted, I'm sorry.
what's wrong?
Nothing.
Something's wrong.
I had a meeting with a couple of partners today. I mean, if you could call it that. I'm in my office, red lighting a contract due at 6. Steven comes in with Jack, sits down, asks me where my parents were born.
Pakistan. Oh
I
no!
said-
What just happened? Sorry.
I said India. That's what I put on the form when I got hired.
Why?
It technically was India when my dad was born,
Okay.
but the names of the cities you've listed are not in India, Steven says. They're in Pakistan. My father was born in 1946 when it was all one country before the British chopped it up into 2 countries in 1947. And your mother was born when? 1948. So it wasn't India anymore, was it? It was Pakistan. My clock is running and I'm wasting time on a forking history lesson. Turns out, Steven's trying to ascertain if I've misrepresented myself.
It sounds like you did.
It was all India, so there's a different name on it now. So what? He knew about my name change. Your birth name is not Kapoor, Steven says. It's Abdullah. Why did you change it?
Didn't he already know?
I never told them.
They must have run a background check.
I had my social security number changed when I changed my name.
You did.
Yeah. It was before I met you.
Is that legal?
They do it all the time. When people go through identity theft, Steven must have been digging around. He was in it for me. I knew I never should have done that, gone to that hearing.
That was months ago. What does that have to do with anything?
A lot, honey. A lot.
Have you talked to Mort about it?
I can't get a hold of him.
The intercom buzzes.
Wait a second. What time is it?
10
Checking
past.
his watch.
What are they doing here? I still have to get ready.
Go get ready. I'll get it.
Amir heads for the kitchen. At the intercom, okay.
Yes. Send them up.
As Amir reemerges,
You gonna be okay?
I'll be fine.
You sure?
Yes. Go.
Can you get the appetizers? They're on the counter in the kitchen.
I got it.
Emily exits. Amir goes to the door, back into the kitchen.
Shari, move closer.
We hear noises outside the door. Then the door creeps open. Amir! Just as Amir emerges,
Come on, Andor.
enter Jory, mid to late 30s, African American, is commanding, forthright, intelligent, almost masculine. We've seen Isaac before. Both shed their coats as Amir gets to them.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
Hey, Amir.
Hi, Jory. Did you say 7:30? Did we say
I'm
7?
sure. I'm sure she said 7.
She's still getting ready.
No worries.
More time to drink, right?
Showing a bottle. What dessert?
Do you want me to read stage directions in this part? Because I don't. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. More time to drink, right?
We brought dessert.
Magnolia Bakery. Thank you.
This should go in the fridge.
Who was at the Knicks game last night?
You were?
Are you a Knicks fan?
I'm sorry to say.
No dishonor in it.
No dishonor, but lots of pain.
Cubs fan. Don't get me started on pain.
Jory returns.
Oh, the Bartman.
I mean, I didn't think he should be killed, but I had friends.
Killed.
Honey,
the fan who stole the ball out of a Cubs outfielder's hand
Moises Alou, 8th inning.
and denied the Cubs a trip to the World Series.
You don't remember this?
Feels great.
M's making pork tenderloin. You eat pork, don't you? Sorry, we can't hear you.
Ah,
Can you hear me though?
yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Project-
So, you can hear my Jory?
What?
You can't hear my Jory?
I can't.
Or maybe like shift the laptop more toward you or something, because it looks like it's coming like a little bit more
More
towards
towards
Ruben's side.
No. Okay.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah. That's
That's
a lot
it.
better.
It was you.
So I was just say, you eat pork, don't you? You kill me on that.
M's making pork tenderloin. You eat pork, don't you?
Every chance he gets.
Got to make up for all the lost years. Could I use your restroom?
Down the hall on the right.
I remember.
Isaac crosses the hall, exits.
What are you drinking?
You have scotch?
Still the bottle of Macallan that you gave me.
I expect more from you, Amir.
We'll finish it tonight. On the rocks?
Neat.
You're not kidding around.
Amir begins to prepare the drink.
You hear about Sarah?
What about her?
She's got her new terrier back.
Now? How?
She hired a dog investigator who kidnapped it back from Frank.
Lord.
Frank's gonna sue her
On what grounds?
just to make her life miserable.
The two of them.
Tell me about it.
Taking her drink.
She and I ran into Frank on the courthouse.
Oh, you were in court today?
Parked the insurance arbitration. Arbitration.
How'd it go?
Fine. We're just dancing on the numbers now. They have to pay and they know it. I just need a little time to get used to the idea.
Mort there?
Steven took it over. He has me on it now.
But Proctor's Mort's.
Was.
Why is that not a surprise?
Mort couldn't be bothered, rather be meditating.
Yeah, instead of taking his Lipitor.
You know, he took me to lunch and tried to teach me to meditate. I actually tried it a couple times. Ended up getting 5 pounds. I just kept thinking about food. I get frustrated, give up, and pig out.
What's up with the offer from Credit Suisse?
I'm not gonna do it.
Didn't they come back with 200 more?
They did.
I told you that move would work,
You were right.
but I don't think you can get more.
The partners are countering.
I doubt it's 200 more.
I put down roots.
Kapoor, Braithwaite,
What?
you and me, on our own, in business. Stephen and Mort got ahead underpricing the competition back in the day when they got started.
Well, downtown, WAFs didn't want to be doing mergers and acquisitions.
Yeah, fine. That's why Jews were doing it. And then mergers and acquisitions became all the rage. And guys like Stephen and Mort became the establishment. We are the new Jews.
Okay.
We go about it the right way. We'll get to where LBH is now in a quarter of the time it took them.
You coming up with this on the fly?
This afternoon. That firm will never be ours. It's theirs. They're always going to remind us that we were just invited to the party.
I don't think it's a bad idea. Amir?
Isaac returns from the bathroom, holding a book, interrupting.
Who's reading this? Sorry, am I interrupting?
Well,
Just talking shop.
Emily enters in a lovely dress.
I'm so sorry. Nice to see you.
nice to see you too.
Hey, Em.
Hi, Isaac.
I thought I heard 7.
Look, as long as you don't mind waiting for dinner.
Honey, they got cupcakes from Magnolia.
Banana pudding, actually.
Oh my god, I love that stuff.
It's like crack.
You want something to drink, Isaac?
Scotch be great on the rocks.
Honey?
Port.
Port before dinner?
I know, I'm strange. I just love it so much.
Amir gets started on the drinks.
So who's reading Denial of Death?
I am, since you suggested it.
She's been raving about it.
The only reason people remember this anymore is because it's the book Woody Allen gives to Diane Keaton on their first date to Annie Hall. And tells her, "This is everything you need to know about me."
Denial of Death.
Could have given me a heads up, too.
You think? It's an amazing book. I actually got the title for my new show from here.
What's the title?
Handing out drinks all around.
The title? Well, first, let me say, it's been generations and generations of consumerism and cynicism.
Get comfortable.
In an art market that just feeds the frenzy. Something shifting. There's a movement of young artists who are not buying into it anymore. They're asking the question, how to make art sacred again. It's an impossibly heroic task. They've said to themselves. Which is why I'm calling it
Just ring to Rory.
Impossible Heroes. She doesn't like it.
Sounds like a segment on Edison Cooper's 60.
I know.
Oh
Can't hear
no.
all good.
About Paralympic athletes.
Impossible Heroes.
Very funny. How about you, Em? What do you think about the title? After all, it's your show now, too.
You're kidding.
The work you're doing with the Islamic tradition is important to you. It needs to be seen widely.
Isaac, that's amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Ensuing congratulations overlap.
Congratulations, Emily.
Thank you.
So happy for you.
That-
Overlap. Okay.
That's incredible. I'm so proud of you, honey.
A toast is in order.
To your show and to Emily.
Emily,
and-
cheers.
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 Cheers. So,
All drink.
how many
What?
of her paintings?
That's my husband. Always talking numbers.
I've got room for 4 or 5.
5. That sounds great.
I definitely want that one. The couple I saw in the studio, and I've been thinking about the study after Velasquez more. I'm not sure.
More. Haven't heard that word in a minute.
I did a portrait of Amir a few months ago. After an episode we had at
Noticing Amir's reaction to her bringing up this story, Emily shifts gears.
I just been to the Met and seen the Velasquez painting.
Emily goes to the bookshelf in the corner.
Did Sherry say it?
Yeah, which one? I'm sorry.
It's okay. Portrait of Wanda Perea, who
Right.
happened to be of Moorish descent.
Returning with the book.
This is the original portrait.
Oh, of course.
It's a study after the Velasquez. You know, I'm using the same palette, same composition, but it's a portrait of Amir.
Your very own personal Moore.
Used is more like it.
I think I'd rather stick with the abstract pieces. Keep the impression of your work consolidated. But I'm tempted. I mean, it's a stunning portrait. Quite a tribute to Amir, if you ask me.
You think?
Oh, standing there in your black suit, silver cut cufflinks, perfectly pressed lily white dress shirt, which is so magnificently rendered. You can almost smell the starch on that shirt.
Not starch, Isaac. Just ridiculous thread count.
Please do not start talking about your shirts at the office. People, no, not talking about your shirts at the office.
Really?
I was joking. You must spend half of what you make on shirts.
Wouldn't be far from the truth. Charvette, always.
How much do those run?
Amir seems reluctant to reply.
$600.
So there you are in your $600 chevet shirt, like Vesquez's brilliant slave and his lace collar adorned in the splendors of the world you're now so clearly a part of. And yet,
Yeah.
the question remains
The question?
of your place. For the viewer, of course, not you. It's a painting after all.
I like the stuff she was doing before.
The landscapes? Not a huge fan.
Isaac.
What? She knows that. I think it's smart she moved on. It's not as fertile a direction for her.
I think the landscapes are very fertile.
Amir. Amir,
What?
we both know why you like the landscapes.
Why?
Because they have nothing to do with Islam.
Before Amir can speak.
What she's doing with the Islamic tradition has taken her to another level. A young Western painter drawing on Islamic representation, not ironically, in service. It's an unusual and remarkable statement.
What's the statement?
Islam is rich and universal, part of a spiritual and artistic heritage we can all draw from. I love that thing you said in London at the Frieze Art Fair about humility and Renaissance.
Right. The Renaissance is when we turned away from something bigger than ourselves. It put the individual at the center of the universe and made a cult out of the personal ego.
Right.
That never happened in the Islamic tradition. It's still more connected to a wider, less personal perspective.
I'm using that in my catalog.
Stop it.
I'm serious. You've got a major career ahead of you. I'm just one of the first to get to the party. Emily Hughes Kapoor, a name to be contented with.
Here, here.
Toasting.
Has that name from?
Pause.
Okay. Why are you asking?
Did I do something wrong?
No. Stephen came into my office today and asked me about the same thing.
He did.
Awkward pause.
You know, it's a pretty common Punjabi name.
I'm headed to Delhi a day after tomorrow. That's in Punjab, isn't it?
Not really, but same country, so why not?
What are you doing in Delhi, Isaac?
Sothi Sikandar has designed to offer me a studio visit.
How exciting. I love his work. You going too?
Ezra has school.
Joy's being polite. It's not because Ezra has school. I have a little bit of an issue when it comes to flying. I hate flying. It's a primal thing. Primal thing. The thought of not being on the ground opens up this door to like every fear I have, and the hysteria around security only makes it worse.
It's a nightmare at the airport.
Aside from being ogled over or being
Built up. Definitely.
is that not a surprise?
It actually calms me down. What's that like for you?
What?
Security at airports. I mean, you hear stories.
Wouldn't know. I cut right to the chase.
He volunteers himself. Goes right to the agents and offers himself up.
I know they're looking at me, and it's not because I look like Giselle. I figured why not make it easier for everyone involved?
Never heard of anyone doing that before.
On top of people being more and more afraid of folk who look like me, we end up being resented too.
Those agents are working hard not to discriminate. Then here's this guy who comes up to them and calls them out.
Pure, unmitigated passive aggression. That's what my wife thinks.
Well, maybe she has a point.
I think it's kind of admirable, Amir. If everyone was so forthcoming, the world would be a very different place.
Racial profile.
Honey, I know what it is.
It's not her. That's the point.
And it's probably not some Kansas grandmother in a wheelchair.
The next terrorist attack is probably gonna come from some guy who more or less looks like me.
I totally disagree. The next attack is coming from some white guy who's got a gun he shouldn't have.
And pointing at a guy who looks like me.
Not necessarily.
Person in Middle Eastern descent started doing what you're doing.
Yeah?
I mean, if we all got used to that kind of compliance, we might actually start getting a little too comfortable about our suspicions.
So you do have suspicions.
Not me, I'm just saying.
Look, hell, I don't blame you.
Wait, what?
Could you get me a glass of port?
Emily's cell phone rings on the coffee table. Emily checks it without answering.
It's Abe.
Abe?
Your nephew?
Right. What's he calling you about?
Did he call you and you not call him back?
Yeah?
So he's calling me. You gotta work on that, honey. You guys hungry?
I'm getting there.
I'm starting us with a fennel salad. You eat anchovies?
Love them. And I love fennel.
Pouring. Her fennel anchovy salad is a classic. A forking classic.
See, honey? An exemplary. It's what? Exemplary. Exemplary instance of spousal support. He never compliments me on my cooking because you don't show me any love when I do.
Look, I made you the omelet.
I haven't made an omelet in ages.
Might be the best thing.
Getting up for the kitchen.
Can't believe he just said that.
Would you like some help?
Thank you, Jory. I would love some.
Keep away from the ingredients.
Emily and Jory exit.
So, I'm sorry if I brought up something sensitive between you and Emily, I mean.
You didn't.
Oh.
It's not a secret. Em and I don't see eye to eye on Islam. I think it's a backward way of thinking and being.
You don't think that's maybe a little broad? I mean, it happens to be one of the world's great spiritual traditions.
Let me guess. You read Rumi.
Amir, actually, yes, I've been reading Rumi. And he's great. That's not what I'm talking about. Do you know Hanif Said?
I don't.
He's a sculptor. He's Muslim. He's devout. His work is an amazing testimony to the power of faith. He carves these monolithic pillar-like forms.
Have you read the Quran, Isaac?
I haven't.
When it comes to Islam, monolithic pillar-like forms don't matter.
Emily and Jory return with the salad and bowls.
And paintings don't matter. Only the Quran matters.
Paintings don't matter.
I didn't mean it like that.
How did you mean it?
Honey, you are aware of what the Prophet said about them.
I am, Amir.
What did he say?
He used to say
He used to say angels don't enter a house where there are pictures and or dogs. Your guess is as good as mine.
Every religion's got idiosyncrasies. My ancestors didn't like lobster. Who doesn't like lobster? What's your point?
My point is that what a few artists are doing, however powerful, does not reflect the Muslim psyche.
Muslim psyche?
Islam comes from the desert, from a group of tough-minded, tough-living people who saw life as something hard and relentless, something to be suffered.
Not the only people have suffered in a desert for centuries, Amir. Don't know what it says about the Jewish psyche, if that's the word we're going to use.
Desert pain. I can work with that. Jews reacted to the situation differently. They turned it over and over and over. I mean, look at the Talmud. They're looking at things from 100 different angles, trying to negotiate with it, make it easier, more livable.
Find ways to complain about.
Jory chuckles. Isaac shoots her a look.
Whatever they do, it's not what Muslims do. Muslims don't think about it. They submit. That's what Muslim means, by the way, submission.
I know what it means. Look, the problem isn't Islam, it's Islamofascism.
Guys, salad.
Martin Amis, right?
Hitchens, too. They're not wrong about that.
I'm starving.
You haven't read the Quran, but you read a couple of sanctimonious British bullies, and you think you know something about Islam?
Everyone is moving to the table.
Amir,
What? That's not fair, game? If he's going to offer it as a counter, it's fair game.
He has a point. I need to read the Quran.
did you want fresh pepper?
I had to read from it in college. All I remember is the anger.
Thank you. It's like one very long hate mail letter to humanity.
That's not true.
With the pepper.
Jory,
It is, kind of. Grant me that at least.
I'll grant you that the Quran sees humanity as stubborn and self-interested, and it takes us to task for that. And I can't say it's wrong to do so.
All I was trying to say with Islamofascism is that there's a difference between the religion and the political use of it.
Isaac, in Islam, there's no difference. There's no distinction between church and state.
Don't you mean mosque and state?
I do. Thank you. I'm assuming we're all opposed to people who think the Bible is the Constitution.
Last person has been served. All begin to eat.
Bon appetit.
Bon appetit.
This is so good.
Did I tell you, or did I tell you?
Oh, it's so easy. You just slice everything up.
Fennel, peppers, celery.
Carrots, radishes,
What are these?
baby artichokes.
Just as much as people who treat the Bible like the Constitution are the people who treat the Constitution like it's the Bible. I mean, trying to figure out what a text written more than 200 years ago really meant. Like it's going to solve our problems today.
I call that bullshit about the right to bear arms. It was 1791, people.
That's my point. That's exactly what I'm saying, honey.
This is delicious, and really.
I picked up the recipe when I was on a Fulbright in Seville.
I love Spain. I ran with the bulls in Pamplona.
You did not run with the bulls.
I watched people run with bulls.
We went to Barcelona for our honeymoon. The chorizo, the paella, the wine. Spanish wines are so underrated.
See, this is the problem I'm having. You're saying Muslims are so different. You're not different. You're not that different. You have the same idea of the good life as I do. I wouldn't have even known you were a Muslim if it wasn't for the article in the Times.
I'm not Muslim. I'm an apostate. I'm an apostate. Which
I know what
means-
the word apostate means.
Isaac.
Do you also know that according to the Quran, it makes me punishable by death?
That's not true, Amir.
Yes, it is.
Have you even read that part? Have you? It condemns renouncing the faith, but it doesn't specify punishment. The tradition has interpreted it as punishable by death.
Impressive.
He's repeated it enough, I checked. I have a vested interest after all.
The women laugh.
Fine. So let's talk about something that is in the text. Wife beating.
Wife beating.
Great. Could you pass the bread?
Amir, really?
Passing the
So
bread.
the angel Gabriel comes to Muhammad.
Angel Gabriel.
Yeah, that's how Muslims believe the Quran came to humanity. The angel Gabriel supposedly dictated it to Muhammad word for word.
Like Joseph Smith, Mormonism. An angel named Marami came down in upstate New York and talked to Joseph Smith.
Maroney, honey.
You sure?
It was on South Park.
Beat.
So, like I was saying, the angel Gabriel shows up and teaches Muhammad this verse. You know, the one, honey, it's paraphrasing, men are in charge of women.
Here.
If they don't obey, talk to them. If that doesn't work, don't sleep with them. If that doesn't work,
I'm not doing this.
beat them.
I don't remember that in the Quran.
Oh, it's there, all right.
The usual translation is debatable.
Only for people who are trying to make Islam look all warm and fuzzy.
The root verb can mean beat, but it can also mean leave. So it could be saying, if your wife doesn't listen, leave her, not beat her.
Sounds like a pretty big difference.
That's not how it's been interpreted for hundreds of years.
No, see, sometimes you have to say no.
The French.
For their problem with Islam,
You're okay with them banning the veil?
you do have to draw the line somewhere.
Okay.
Endearing.
Married to a woman who has a Kissinger quote above her desk in the den.
If faced with choosing justice or order, I'll always choose order.
Why do you have that above your desk?
To remind me not to get lost in the feeling that I need to get justice. You pull yourself out of the ghetto, you realize real soon order is where it's at.
Me? Justice. Always.
You know what they say? If you're young and not a liberal, you've got no heart. And if you're old and not a conservative,
You've got no
got
brain.
no brain.
I happen to know a very brilliant Muslim woman who chose to wear the veil.
You really enjoy playing the contrarian, don't you?
Plain contrarian.
Who do you know that wears the veil?
You wouldn't know them.
I think you're making it up.
I'm not.
So who?
Khalid's sister.
Khalid?
She's a professor of philosophy at Cornell. She wears the veil.
Khalid, your trainer?
You train at Equinox?
Yeah,
I know Khalid. Balding, with the guns.
that's him. I didn't know you trained at Equinox.
What's your point?
Khalid may be a trainer, but he comes from a ridiculously educated Jordanian background. All of the women in his family wear the veil by choice.
It's not always what people think. It's a source of pride for a lot of Muslim women.
First of all, they're probably wearing headscarves, not the veil. It's not the same thing.
Tell these people you erase the pain through erase individuality. Nobody's making them erase their individuality. Why does it always come down to making the women pay? There's a point at which you just have to say no.
Just say no. That's exactly what Muhammad didn't do. Here's the irony. Before becoming a prophet, he was adamant about his followers not abusing women. And then he starts talking to an angel. I mean, really?
I still can't believe I've never seen the parallel with Mormonism before.
You keep saying that like it means something.
Both religions, where you can have multiple wives, do. Though I think Mormons are okay with dogs.
Still don't get it.
Get what? That you're full of self-loathing?
Jory shoots Isaac a whoop to kill.
The Quran is about tribal life in a 7th century desert, Isaac. The point isn't just academic. There's a result to believing that a book written about life in a specific society 1,500 years ago is the word of God. You start wanting to recreate that society. After all, it's only one in which the Quran makes any literal sense. That's why you have people like the Taliban. They're trying to recreate the world in the image of the one that's in the Quran.
Amir has since gotten up from the table and is now pouring himself another drink.
Honey, I think we get it.
Actually, I'm pretty sure you don't. Here's the kicker. And this is the real problem. It goes way deeper than the Taliban. To be Muslim truly means not only that you believe all of this, it means you fight for it too. politics follows faith. No distinction between mosque and state. Remember all that? So if the point is that the world in the Quran was a better place than the world, well, than this world, well, then let's go back. Let's stone adulterers. Let's cut off the hands of thieves. Let's kill unbelievers. And so, even if you're one of those lapsed Muslims sipping your after dinner scotch alongside your beautiful white American wife and watching the news and seeing folks in the Middle East dying for values you were taught were purer and stricter and truer, you couldn't help but feel just a little bit of pride.
Pride?
Yes, pride.
Pete.
Did you feel pride on September 11th?
If I'm honest, yes.
You don't really mean that, Amir.
I was horrified by it, okay? Horrified. Absolutely horrified.
Pride about what? Ours came down about people getting killed.
That we were finally winning.
We?
Yeah. I guess I forgot which we I was.
You're an American.
It's tribal, Jorah. It's in the bones. You have no idea how I was brought up. You have to work real hard to root that shit out.
Well, you need to keep working.
I am.
Emily has gotten up to go to Amir,
What?
That's enough.
taking his glass.
I'm gonna make you some coffee.
Emily exits to the kitchen. Long, awkward pause.
What? Look, I'm not sure it's not all that different from how you feel about Israel sometimes.
Excuse me?
You're gonna tell me you never felt anything like that, an unexpected blush of pride, say,
Blush? I don't feel anything like a blush.
when you hear about Israel throwing its military weight around,
I'm critical of Israel. A lot of Jews are.
and when you hear Ahmadinejad talk about wiping Israel into the Mediterranean, how do you feel then?
Outrage like anybody else.
Not everybody's outraged. A lot of folks like hearing that.
You like hearing that?
I said a lot of folks.
Emily appears in the kitchen doorway.
I asked you if you like hearing it. Do you like hearing about Israel getting wiped into the ocean?
Isaac.
No, I want to know.
Sometimes, yes.
Amir, you're supposed to be celebrating.
And I'm saying it's wrong. It comes from somewhere, and that somewhere is Islam.
No shit, it's wrong. But it doesn't come from Islam. It comes from you. Islam has no monopoly or fundamentalism. It doesn't come from a text.
You don't need to patronize me.
You've been patronizing me this whole conversation. You don't like organized religion. Fine. You have a particular antipathy for the one you were born into. Fine. Maybe you feel a little more strongly about it than most of us because whatever. Fine.
Isaac.
But I'm not interested in your absurd and frankly more than a little terrifying generalization.
Isaac.
But what? Okay.
Another tense pause.
You're naive.
Amir, could you join me in the kitchen, please?
Naive
Emily.
and well-meaning. And you're on a collision course with history.
Amir crosses to the kitchen and exits.
I'm naive. What a fucking asshole.
He's the asshole.
Did you hear him?
What's got into you?
Fucking closet giant.
Will you shut up?
I will never understand what you see in this guy.
You don't.
How would he?
Essentially said on Stephen a few times. I don't know, maybe Mort told him.
Well, he's going to find out sooner or later.
I wanted to be the one to tell him. I owe him that much.
Then you should have told him when it happened.
I'm under confidentiality.
Well,
I think I need to tell him.
The kitchen door flies open and Amir comes bounding back, heading for the coats. Emily appears behind him.
You should come over here with good news. We should be celebrating. It's Emily's night. I'm gonna get us some champagne. And then we're gonna have a wonderful dinner.
Jory and Isaac share a look.
I'm going to come with you. Is that okay?
Of course.
Amir puts on his coat. Jory throws on her coat.
What?
Nothing.
Amir opens the door. He and Jory exit. Emily turns to Isaac.
You think I don't know what you're doing?
what am I doing?
Isaac, please.
He's a big boy. He can't handle a little pushback.
Emily heads for the side table to pour herself another drink.
You guys get into an argument before we showed up.
Why would we get into an argument?
You're married.
I don't have the marriage you do. You should have told me about the show over the phone.
I wanted to tell you face to face.
This is my home, Isaac. London was a mistake.
I don't think you really believe that.
Isaac touches her. She pulls away.
You're in the show now, so that's it.
Of course not. God. Sorry. If that's why you're putting me in the show. Ridiculous. If that's why you're putting me in the show.
Of course not. God, the whole idea for the show came from you. I'm sorry. I thought it was to the stage directions.
Isaac makes another move toward Emily, which he doesn't resist at first until she pulls away again.
I had no idea your husband was such a mess, and a fucking alcoholic to boot.
He's not an alcoholic. Like, he had a bad day at the office.
Oh, so he knows
Knows.
about Jory.
What about Jory?
They're making her partner.
What? Wait, what?
They offered her a partnership, name on the firm. They're counter to the offer she got from Credit Suisse
When did this happen?
last week.
Nobody told Amir.
Well, Jory's telling him right now.
I don't understand.
There's not a lot to understand. They like her. They don't like him.
Mort's like his father.
Mort doesn't wear the pants. Steven does.
Amir's been there twice as long as Jory.
Well,
What?
the whole thing with the Iman that Amir represented.
He didn't represent him.
That's not what the Times said.
He went to a hearing.
The paper mentioned the firm, and they mentioned Amir, and it looked like he was representing a man who was raising money for terrorists.
That's absurd.
That's not what Steven thought. He went ballistic.
He did?
Don't you know this? Jory said your husband broke down, was crying in a staff meeting, and apparently shouted something about how if the Iman had been a rabbi, Steven wouldn't have cared. Steven thought the comment was anti-Semitic.
Sorry, but sometimes you people have a problem.
We people.
Jews. You see anti-Semitism everywhere.
You're married to a man who feels a blush when Ahmadinejad talks about wiping Jews into the ocean. Stephen is a huge fundraiser for Netanyahu. I have no idea why Amir would go anywhere near a guy like that Imam.
For me. God, he did it for me. Oh, God.
Pause.
He doesn't understand you. He puts you on a pedestal. It's in your painting. Study after
Velasquez.
Velasquez, thank you. He's looking out at the viewer. That viewer is you. You painted it. He's looking at you. That expression on the face, Shame, anger, pride. Yeah, the pride he was talking about. The slave finally has the master's wife.
You're disgusting.
It's the truth, Em, and you know it. You painted it.
Silence.
If what happened that night in London was a mistake, Em, if it's not the last time you're going to make it, a man like that, you will cheat on him again. Maybe not with me, but you will.
Isaac.
And then one day you'll leave him, Em. I'm in love with you.
Isaac leans in to kiss her. Emily doesn't move. In or out. The front door opens. Jory enters. In a buff, returning for Isaac and her things, ready to leave for the evening.
Isaac, we need to get out of here.
But stopped in the place by the moment of intimacy between her husband and Emily.
Honey,
What the fuck is going on in here?
Amir enters, inflamed.
You wait a week to tell me this, and the second I say something you don't like hearing, you walk away from me in mid fucking sentence. Who are you?
Jory just stares at her husband.
What? What?
Are you having an affair with my husband?
Excuse me?
nobody's having an affair.
I walked in here and they were kissing.
That's not true, Amir. It's not true.
They were kissing. There.
That's not what was happening.
I know what I saw.
Isaac told me about them making you partner. I know how much longer Amir has been there before than you. I was upset. I was crying.
I was consoling her.
By kissing her?
We weren't kissing. Why do you keep saying that?
Are you having an affair with her? Tell me the truth.
Honey, I already said we're not having an affair.
So what the fuck were you doing when I walked in here?
I was hugging her because she was crying.
Get off me.
I was upset they made you partner. I know how much longer Amir has been there. I was crying.
Amir turns to Jory, vicious.
First you steal my job, and now you try to destroy my marriage? You're fucking evil. After everything I've done for you.
Jory goes over to get her purse as if to leave.
I know what I saw.
You have any idea how much of myself I've poured into that place? That closet at the end of the hall where they keep the cleaning supplies? That was my first office. You had a view of the fucking park. Your first 3 years, were you ever at work before anyone else in the morning? Were you ever the last one to leave? Because if you were, I didn't see it. I still leave that office after you do. You think, I ain't gonna say it, but you think, here, I'm not me?
You don't need to listen to any more of this asshole.
Don't touch me.
You're the asshole.
You better shut your mouth, buddy,
Or what?
or I'll knock you on your fucking ass.
Try me.
Me.
Inflamed, Isaac finally releases his wife, facing off with Amir, when suddenly, Amir spits in Isaac's face. Isaac wipes the spit from his face.
There's a reason they call you people animals.
Isaac turns to his wife, turns to Emily, then walks out.
Get out.
You should know. Your dear friend Moore is retiring. And guess who's taking over his caseload? Not you. Me. I asked him, why not Amir? He said something about you being duplicitous. Duplicitous. That's it. It's why you're such a good litigator. But that's it. But that it's impossible to trust you. Don't believe me? Call Moore and ask him yourself. Let me guess. He hasn't been taking your calls.
Jory walks out, beat.
Have you lost your fucking mind?
Amir turns away, withdrawing into himself, pacing, the inward spiral deepening.
Amir!
He's right. He hasn't been taking my calls.
I'm gonna get you that coffee.
Emily heads for the kitchen, leaving Amir by himself for a moment. He watches the swinging doorway, back and forth. Emily returns, a mug in hand. Something in Amir's tone, vulnerable and tense, stops her in her place.
Are you sleeping with him?
Pause. Emily puts the mug down on the table. Beats. Finally, she shakes her head.
It was in London. When I was at Freeze, we were drinking. It's not an excuse. It's just we just been to the Victoria and Albert, and he was talking about my work, and
Emily, seeing how her works are landing on her husband, words are landing on her husband, makes her way to him.
Amir, I'm so disgusted with myself. If I could take it back.
All at once, Amir hits Emily in the face, a vicious blow. The first blow unleashes a torrent of rage, overtaking him. He hits her twice more, maybe a third, in a rapid succession. Uncontrolled violence as brutal as it needs to be in order to convey the discharge of a lifetime of discreetly building resentment. In order for the stage violence to seem as real as possible, do I need to read that?
No.
I'll just read it. Obscuring him from direct view of the audience might be necessary for it to unfold with Emily hidden by couch, for example. Oh, okay. Yeah, I did. Sorry. After the last blow, Amir suddenly comes to his senses, realizing what he's done.
Oh my god.
There's a knocking at the door. Beat. And then more knocking. Finally, the door gently opens. Abe is standing there. He looks over and he sees, as we do, Emily emerge into full view on the ground, her face bloodied. Abe looks up at Amir. Lights out. Does anybody want to read for stage direction scene 4? Because I'm Abe.
Next scene.
I can read stage directions for you.
Cool.
Sorry. Scene 4. 6 months later. A dining table, a couple of chairs. Much of the furniture gone, the rest of the room covered with pictures of moving, boxes, etc. The painting above the mantel is gone. Along one wall leans a smaller, partially wrapped canvas. It is turned away from the audience. As the lights come up, Amir is on stage, quietly going about the process of packing. There should be something muted about his movement, presence, as if a man chastened by life, perhaps even crippled inwardly. He has a thought and heads for the kitchen. Just as he exits, there's a knocking at the front door. He reemerges, crossing and going to the door. He opens to find Emily, and to one side, Abe. Abe is wearing a Muslim skull cap, and his wardrobe is muted, unlike the vibrant colors of the first scene.
M?
Can we come in?
Of course.
They enter. Abe appears reluctant, not meeting Amir's gaze.
What's going on here? Everything all right?
Not really.
What?
Abe doesn't respond.
Confused?
No response. Amir turns to Emily, making a gesture towards her, not even realizing it.
M?
No, please. He's been coming to me. You need to hear this. Tell him.
He's not going to understand.
He got stopped by the FBI.
What?
I didn't get stopped.
What happened?
Just sit down and tell him.
What happened?
I didn't get stopped. All I was doing was sitting in Starbucks.
With your friend.
Don't tell me. Tariq?
Yeah.
Hasn't everybody been telling you?
Speak.
My parents are wrong about him.
Okay.
We were at Starbucks, just drinking coffee. Tariq starts talking to his barista, who's on break. I can tell she's not into him. He's not getting the message. She starts asking about our kufi hats, and we are Muslims. And then she asks how we feel about Al-Qaeda. So Tariq tells her, Americans are the ones who created Al-Qaeda.
Off Amir's look.
You don't believe me?
That's not really
The CIA trained the Mujahideen in Afghanistan. Those are the guys that became Al-Qaeda.
I mean, it's a little more complicated than that.
Actually, it's not, Uncle. Not really.
Okay, what's happened?
So she got snippy and Tariq got pissed. He told her this country deserved what it got and what it was going to get. She goes back to work, and before we know it, the police are there. She called them, they cuff us, take us in. Two guys from the FBI are at the station, waiting. We sit through this ridiculous interrogation.
What did they ask you?
Do we believe in jihad? Do we want to blow stuff up? How often do I read the Quran?
Okay.
Do we have girlfriends? Had I ever had sex? Do I watch porn? Do I hate America? They knew a lot about me, where I had gone to school, about mom and dad, where they were born, like if they already had a file. They brought up my immigration status.
What about it?
It's up for renewal.
When they said that, I laughed.
You laughed?
I didn't mean to. It just happened.
Were you trying to antagonize them?
No, I mean, look, I knew what they were doing.
What are they doing?
They're going into our community and looking for people whose immigration status is vulnerable. Then they push us to start doing stuff for them.
Okay.
So what? You don't believe that either?
I didn't say that.
I'm gonna go. He needed to talk to you.
Where are you going?
Aunt Emily's. Stay, please.
He stops. He finally nods, still reluctant.
I'm gonna get some water.
Emily crosses to the kitchen, exits.
Is she okay?
I don't want to talk about that.
Amir starts dialing on his phone.
Who are you calling? You can't call Mom. She's gonna freak out.
I'm calling Ken,
Ken?
the lawyer on Imam Farid's case.
Into
Hi,
the phone.
Ken. It's Amir. Please call me back when you get this. It's urgent. Thanks. When you step outside of your parents' house, you need to understand that it's not a neutral world out there. Not right now. Not for you. You have to be mindful after sending a different message
Then what?
than the one that landed you in an interrogation with the FBI.
So now what?
Let's hear what Ken has to say. I mean, it's not good, but at least they let you go.
If he tells me that I have to go into our mosque and pretend I'm planning some bullshit attack just to stay in this country,
You don't know that that's what's going to happen.
if you spent any time with your own people,
Excuse me?
what would you do if the FBI asked you to work for them?
We're not there yet.
What would you do?
There's always to let the authorities know that you're on their side.
But I'm not on their side.
You might want to rethink that because they make the rules.
I knew this was a mistake.
Oh, sorry. It's not a mistake. If you're not smarter about this, you're going to end up you are going to get deported.
Yeah, well, maybe that wouldn't be the worst thing.
To a country you haven't known since you were 8 years old.
Maybe that's the problem. Maybe we should have never left. Maybe we should have come to this one.
There's a reason your father came here. Some reason my father did. They wanted to make a better life for themselves and their families.
A better life?
And to do it honestly, which isn't an option in Pakistan.
You don't have a better life.
What are you talking about?
I knew you were fired.
I don't know what you think you know.
I know what you did to her. How could you?
I don't know.
You want something from these people you will never get.
I'm still your elder. You need to show me a little respect.
Just because I'm telling you the truth doesn't mean I'm showing you respect. You forgot who you are.
Really? Abe Jensen?
I changed it back.
So now you've been running around with your kufi on your head, shooting off your mouth in Starbucks, or sitting in a mosque and bemoaning the plight of Muslims around the world is going to.
It's disgusting. The one thing I can be sure about with you. Wait. The one thing I can be sure about with you, you'll always turn on your own people. You think it makes these people like you more when you do that? They don't. They just think you hate yourself. And they're right. You do. I looked up to you. You have no idea.
No.
No,
I-
you have no idea what it did to me. I mean, if you can make it with them. The prophet wouldn't be trying to be like one of them. He didn't conquer the world by copying other people. He made the world copy him.
Conquer the world?
That's what they've done. They've conquered the world. We're gonna get it back. That's our destiny. It's in the Quran.
We see Emily appear at the swinging door, listening. Abe doesn't notice her.
For 300 years, they've been taking our land, drawing new borders, replacing our laws, making us want to be like them, look like them, marry their women. They disgraced us. They disgraced us. And they and then they pretend that they don't understand the rage we've got.
Emily emerges, Abe realizing she has hurt him. Abe moves to the door, stops, looks back at Emily.
I'm sorry.
He's saying.
I'll handle it myself, Uncle.
Abe exits, leaving Amir and Emily. Silence.
My sister's been telling me about him. I didn't realize. Are you reading my letters?
Here,
I got the painting.
I didn't want to throw it out.
There was no note. Look, I told your lawyer I wanted you to have the apartment. I mean, I wrote you that. But I have no idea
The apartment's not mine.
if you hate me so much, why did you drop charges?
I don't hate you, Amir.
I saw the write-up in the New Yorker. I was so proud of you.
Oh,
I don't know if you read any of my letters. There's a lot you were right about me. I'm finally seeing it. I'm finally seeing what you're seeing. I'm finally understanding your work.
my work was naive.
No, it wasn't. Why are you saying that?
Because it's true.
Not if you had any idea how sorry I am.
I know.
Emily crosses, stopping when she gets to the door.
I had a part in what happened.
No.
It's true. I was selfish. My work, it made me blind.
It just. I just want you to be proud of me. I want you to be proud you were with me.
Goodbye, Amir. Please, don't write me anymore.
She exits, long feet. As Amir walks over to return the packing, he notices the partially wrapped canvas against the wall. He walks over to it, picks it up, and then tears the rest of the wrapping off. From his position on stage, we will only see enough of the painting to realize it is Emily's portrait of him, studied after Velázquez's Moor. He takes a searching long look. Lights out. Damn!